So I discovered this video about 2 weeks ago from Mr. Draw with Jazzas. Draw with Jazzas. And there you go, Jazzas.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazzas. I'm Jazzas, and this video is the announcement for the theme of the April 2017 Challenge of the Month, which I am calling
Wait for it.
This month's challenge.
This is what I heard, and I got very excited, and then stuff happened, and then the next 2 weeks has been completely crazy. I was like, oh, I've got to the end of the month to do this. No. I have deadline. This is the bit I didn't see. I don't know if you can see that. Deadline. 27th. Deadline is April the 22nd, 2017. And today is close. So let's get out the little black book with all the scamps and ideas. And okay, so I was coming up with a theme with two sides against each other, and this is what I came up with. So I scanned this in and blew it up. So I'll be working each side on A4 and the other side will be made later digitally. So I'm using Express-It card this time, so it's just short of A4 in height because this is an American size, not a British size. And all I was doing was tracing off exactly what I'd done in my sketch, but on the new paper. And it's because I love this paper. It's a super high quality, and I save it for things that I think would really be it would really lift the colours of, because this paper is made for Copics, and that is the media that I chose for this because it's one of my favourites, and I've done a lot of watercolour paintings recently, and I really just wanted to mix it up, so that is exactly what I did. I did chop out a massive chunk of footage there because it took a while, okay? And yeah, after just basically tracing it off, I went round and thickened up the line weights where I thought it needed emphasizing, maybe some shadows put in, some... I didn't want to go in with tons of detail because I wanted to do that more with the Copics. So, the last time I did grass with Copics, it didn't go too well. It went quite splodgy, my choices were terrible, and I didn't swatch beforehand. This time I definitely learned from that mistake. So yeah, as you could tell by the start of the video, I did... well, I was out with my friends and I was like, oh yeah, I want to enter Jazzas competition this time, but it's okay, I've got till the end of the month. Oh boy, was I wrong. No. One of my friends was like, oh, you know that's like at the end of the week, right? You might want to check your dates. And I was like, nah, yeah, okay, I'll check the dates. And I did, and it turns out I had 3 UK days, but obviously, like, Jazz is in Australia and he is roughly 10 hours ahead. So I had lost half a day there, so I was like, oh my god. Right, luckily I have Friday off, and I did a whole bunch Thursday afternoon. So it is currently, I'm filming and editing this on Friday. It is Friday, right? Easter holidays has completely messed up my brain. And yeah, so I have finished it off and edited it all in 2 days, and I don't usually do that, to be honest. I usually sort of spread it out. I do a little bit of planning one day, I do a little bit of line work the next, I might do some colour theory the next day, and it'll very slowly organically grow. So this was definitely a do well under pressure tour, or you're not gonna get it done. Ugh. But I am so happy with how it turned out, which is a massive relief because it's not very often that the image inside my head is conveyed exactly onto paper. This, what you are seeing, is exactly what was inside my brain. So I am so pleased that it's turned out the way it has. And the concept, traditional versus digital, is amazing. Like, if this was a theme when I was back at uni, I would have absolutely been in love with that project. And frankly, if that was a project, I'd be one happy little student at the time. Because I always used to swing towards vector illustration, which is what I use on the second half. And I liked line art. Now, if I had done this back then, this side would have purely just been black and white line art and no other colour, because I hadn't discovered the joys of Copics at that point, and I wasn't confident at that point with other traditional media. The only other thing I even considered was charcoals and chalks, because they're messy. I used to love messy media, very, very much so. In fact, I still do, I just don't really get the chance to do it, and because I don't want to mess up my desk. Might do some outside sometime. And yeah, I'm very pleased with how this turned out, and I've really loved the colour combination I came up with for the denim, which I think I have the blues next to me. I used 3 blues. I now can't remember the combination that I used. Oh no, okay, so B21 was the pocket lining you can see sticking out the bottom, and the others were B18, B06 and B05, and I found that they made a really lovely, rich, dark denim colour for the dungarees, which really stood out. And the idea of my colour palette, particularly on this side, I wanted to convey like basic primary colours. So I was going for blues, I was going for yellows, I was going for reds, with the very, very basics, and I wanted it to kind of imitate a colour palette, if that makes sense. So while they're not exactly themed in together, as in they don't, that's the wrong wording. What I mean is they're not shades of a particular colour group or pastels per se, because the hair ended up, I didn't want it to be like a bright yellow. It was going down the 2 primary school route. I didn't want to have super vibrant yellow as well, and I also purposely didn't choose a super vibrant red also for the same reason. While I wanted it to emulate the colour palette, I definitely did not want it to look primary school. So that is what I did with this side, and I will come back to you later to explain the other side. So yeah, after colouring in all the sky in blue, I decided that it needed a real bit of a texture boost. Now this is something I'd meant to do on a test sheet beforehand, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, I'd run out of time. So what I am doing is I'm using an art syringe. I bought the size too big, typical me, and I am using the Zero Colourless Blender in an attempt to create an interesting effect. And to be honest, it turned out really cool. Like, I haven't had a go at using this sort of technique at all before, and I am so impressed with how the texture has turned out. It's just made me want to play with more textures and have a go at new ways how to use this, because yeah, it really grabbed my attention. And after I finished doing that, it actually made me think, well, now the grass looks too flat again. So yes, this grass actually looked a hell of a lot better than the old grasses I have done in previous videos a long time ago in October this last year. And I was thinking, well, okay, it's not looking great, so I'm gonna have to do something to give it a little bit of a texture boost. So that is what I did. I went on a hunt for a couple of darker shades of green to use there. And what you can see me doing right now is actually lightening up where the light is meant to be hitting. These are arty blobs, I'm gonna call them. It was meant to be like a power pose combination with a kind of active symmetry going across the piece, which is why this is kind of split in half, and the two halves of the entry is, it's meant to be two halves of the same coin and all of that jazz. Oh, Jazza, sorry. Really terrible pun there. So yeah, like I was saying just a second ago, because I'm feeling a little bit skitty today, I'm all over the place, is I was trying to add in a little bit of texture. I didn't want to do stippling on this piece. I felt like that would have been too confusing with all the other things going on. So I tried to replicate what I was doing with the stripes on the shirt and trying to emulate that as grass. That actually turned out really good. Because I was kind of doubtful going in, but again didn't have time to do some testing before. So yeah, this ended up being as much a test piece as well as a entry piece for a competition, because it was fun and different and made me think outside the box. And so there were skills here that I hadn't tried before, so that was a whole different skill boundary. And yeah, it made me realise how hard it was on the digital side too. So what you are seeing here is the bits that I had prepared pre-recording, and I realised that I also didn't have any software to film this at the time, and I was just trying to show you roughly what I was doing as I was making it. So you can see it started out really chunky, and you can see them being put together with no background, and all the background shapes go in, and then I just put in their textures and opacities, and when I was happy with it, I signed it off with my name in the top corner just so it's out the way. So there we go, that is the entry, or my entry for Jazzas competition this month for the hashtag TRADIGITAL, and it was an awesome one. So even if you missed the competition, do give it a go, guys, it's a blast. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Like if you liked and sub if you haven't. Just keep doodling. Bye!